You are listening to Practical and Woo by Mindset and Manifest. My name is Eden, and I invite you to embark on a journey with me to explore the practical and spiritual edges of the unknown for the purpose of allowing you to embody and empower yourself uniquely as you are and to intentionally create and live a life of freedom and fulfillment. Each week, I am going to discuss topics such as energetics, reality creation, manifestation, astrology, tarot, and more to help empower you to live beyond perceived limitations and to practically design your life so it feels like absolute magic every step of the way. Let's dive in. Well, hello, brilliant soul. Today's conversation might just change the way you see yourself forever, because today we're cracking open a phrase I think so many of us have internalized in a way that has silently eroded our sense of self-worth and momentum. So what is this devastatingly powerful phrase, you may ask? It's the sentiment of, well, you're just being lazy. Maybe you've said it to yourself, maybe you've been told this, maybe you've feared it, weaponized it, tried to outrun it. But what if I told you that the issue itself that is being incorrectly reflected is not an issue of laziness, but an issue of capacity? And I'm not saying this as an excuse or a way to cop out of growing through stagnant feelings. I'm saying this as a compass, a gentle yet firm invitation to understand what's really happening beneath the surface when you find yourself unable to do what you think you should be doing. Let's talk about it. Let's consider what laziness even means. If we deconstruct it, lazy is one of those catch-all labels, similar to words like dramatic or too sensitive, and words that don't actually describe what's happening. It pathologizes a behavior without being curious of the root cause. Most of us grew up equating our productivity with our worth. In school, in our families, in our culture, the praise came when we got things done, checked the boxes, went above and beyond. Rest, that was earned. Emotions, those were inconvenient. Being in stillness, that was indulgent at best and selfish at worst. So when we grow up and find ourselves not doing the thing that we think we should, whether it's doing the laundry, launching the business, responding to a message, exercising, brushing our teeth, and we can't drum up the energy to do it, instead of asking ourselves why or what's needed here, the mind short circuits and says, you're just lazy. It's not compassionate. It's not curious. It's a shutdown mechanism. Because here's the thing, laziness is not a character trait. It's a label that we slap on what we don't understand. And when we accept this same label, we collapse into shame coupled with the cruel things that we then say about ourselves. Something is wrong with you. You should be better than this. Or even, look at everyone else. They're handling it. So what's your excuse? But we must recognize that this kind of shame does not create momentum. Shame creates paralysis, and it's a paralysis that reinforces the cycle of perceived laziness. So let's reframe this. Instead of asking, why am I so lazy? Ask, what is my current capacity? Because capacity is your energetic, emotional, mental, and physical bandwidth. It's the space that you have available to meet life and for life to meet you. And here's the revolutionary thing that most of us were never taught. Capacity is not fixed. It's not a moral failing, but it is, however, impacted by context. You might have the capacity for deep connected work one day and none the next. You might have capacity for holding space for others until that capacity fills up. You might have capacity to cook and clean and engage and create and laugh and build until you experience a breakup or a loss or a certain conversation, a deadline, a hormone shift, or just a weird energetic cloud that moves through. This is not about excusing yourself from life. This is about learning to support the self who's trying to live it, while also gaining awareness and tools to then expand your capacity. Because that's another thing. Capacity can and does grow and expand if you tend to it with care and kindness. Think of it like this. If you had a broken ankle, you wouldn't shame yourself for not being able to run. You'd assess the injury, you'd rest, you'd support the healing process, and you wouldn't say, I'm lazy because I'm not sprinting today. But we don't offer this same level of TLC to our energetic or emotional selves. We don't offer the same level of consideration to our nervous system, to our heart, to our sense of capacity that we already have. We don't name the invisible weight that we're carrying. We just call ourselves weak or flaky or not good enough. So it's time to change that. Because I know, even for myself, looking back in 2020 vision, my capacity for many areas of my life have grown time and time again. There was a time in my life, only a short while ago, where cultivating the motivation to even send an email would have destabilized me. Where doing simple tasks like washing my laundry felt like climbing up Mount Everest. If you have never experienced this, it might sound strange. And for me, being able to double, triple, quadruple my task load is a testament to the flexibility, strength, and expansion of capacity. Something you may be wondering is, how do you know when you're actually at capacity versus when you're avoiding, resisting, or stuck in a comfort zone? Here are some telltale signs that you've likely reached your capacity. You feel emotionally raw or overextended. Your body feels heavy or achy, like it's signaling rest. Your nervous system is in fight, flight, freeze, or fawn. Your thoughts loop, but your energy doesn't move. You feel overwhelmed by even the smallest task. You genuinely want to do the thing, but can't seem to access the will to do it. Where in contrast, the signs of resistance or avoidance tend to look like having the energy, but noticing a part of you that's rebelling, having a fear of failure or success that's masked as procrastination, having a desire to stay small because expansion feels unsafe, and a marked avoidance of discomfort rather than being depleted by discomfort. And the important nuance here is knowing that avoidance and resistance can still and probably should be met with support, not shame, because the antidote to both is safety. If your capacity is low, you need nourishment. If you're avoiding, you need safety to move through the fear. Either way, shame is never, ever, ever the solution, but curiosity is, compassion is, regulation is. A thought might be crossing your mind at this point, perhaps a fear that if you give yourself too much compassion, maybe you'll stay stuck. Maybe you're thinking that if you say it's capacity, you will be tempted to use that as a reason to opt out of everything hard. In response to this, here is my truth that I have come to learn through the activation of this kind of application of the work. The notion that when we meet ourselves where we are, truthfully and honestly, is when we actually move. But when we fight where we are, we freeze. Compassion is not complacency. Support is not stagnation. Honesty is not a loophole. It's the first door to change in which you seek. You are not meant to gaslight yourself into progress. You are meant to walk forward from a foundation that has you saying to yourself, I see you, I believe you, I've got you, let's go. And let's go at a pace that's true for me. This is the work. This is the invitation. Not to bypass the part of you that wants more, but to hold the part of you that's temporarily overwhelmed by getting there. If you're in a space where your capacity feels low, or if you're unsure what's happening, here are some self-inquiry questions that are structured to help bring clarity. What do I feel in my body when I think about this task? What unmet need might be beneath my avoidance? What kind of support would make me feel like this is 10% easier? What story am I telling myself about what this means about me? What would I do if I believed I was already enough? Sometimes support looks like taking a nap. Sometimes it's creating a micro step that feels doable. Sometimes it's asking for help. Sometimes it's naming the truth by saying, I'm at my capacity right now. And sometimes, actually often, it's acknowledging that even your perceived failures are part of your learning, growing, and unfolding. You are not behind. You are not lazy. You are building your capacity, one self-honoring decision at a time. I want to close today with something tender. So many of us have an inner critic that sounds like someone from our past, a parent, a teacher, a boss, an ex. And when we don't perform, then that voice kicks in, guns a-blazing, saying, you're being lazy, you're not trying hard enough, you should be better by now. But that voice is not the truth of who you are. That voice is not the frequency of your soul, because you are not lazy. You are learning how to listen. You are not broken. You are building trust. You are not falling behind. You are right on time. Let that be the voice you install. Let that be the new baseline. So the next time you can't do the thing, pause. Ask yourself, is this laziness or is this my capacity? And if it's your capacity, you can then ask yourself, what support do I need right now to grow through this? Not to stay here forever, but to meet this moment honestly, to move with integrity, and to walk one breath at a time back to your wholeness and towards your evolution. If this episode stirred something in you, if you saw yourself in it, I just want to say that I'm shining for you. This is tender work, brave work, and you're doing it. So feel free to share this episode with someone who needs to hear that they are not lazy. Until we meet again, may your capacity be honored. May your self-concept be kind. And may you always remember your worth is not measured in productivity, but in presence. Until next time.